welcome back to Indie Faith Podcast. You are here with Jules and Mary, and we are on episode 39. Um, there's a safe space for all topics Pasifika related. And yeah, how are you, cuz?
I'm good. It's been a while. It's been a while, cuz. How you going?
Yeah, man, I don't get this weather.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute it's like raining, and then after that it's sunny again, and I was like, spring, please, sun, come out. Mr. Sun. Sun.
Where you been?
A lot's been happening while we've been off. The usual, mother duties, work, and everything. We also caught up for lunch not too long ago.
Yes, that was amazing. I was so happy we did that.
Oh man, that was so needed.
We needed that. It was overdue.
Yeah. And it's funny because I took Mary out to Ed Square around the corner, and I live around here, but still got lost.
We walked around a little bit. It wasn't too bad, but it was a nice stroll. Got to see things.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, what an idiot! Like you've been here how many times? You don't know where this damn restaurant is.
I was like, oh,
and we finally found it. I know. Like, finally found him. Like, I stand in front of this place all the time.
Yeah, we were like right there.
That was nice.
Oh. That was alright. It was really nice because I loved it. I was really grateful. We got very spoiled that day, and then we went to dessert too. So it was just such a good day.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah. And the weather was like a bit cloudy and everything, but man, I didn't even care. We were just like catching up and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to do that more.
I agree.
What else has been happening? We had address the elephant in the room with the whole TikTok apps as well. With the posted up a clip, and it went viral, and people just were very ruthless,
very toxic people.
Yeah. Based on one word that was initially in the first second of the clip was pronounced wrong, but then at the end of the clip it was pronounced correctly.
Yeah.
But people these days don't focus on the whole clip. They just want to take what they want from it.
Yeah.
So, I was really emotional about it, and it took a while to, like, I could take all the shit personally, like if it was me, but it was someone else and it was a guest, and I didn't like that at all. And I just felt really responsible but it was a learning for me, more just, well, not a learning actually, it was just like, wow. I was just like,
because you see it with other stuff and you're just like, oh, legs. And then when it happens to someone you care about, well, like for me, it didn't happen to me specifically. It happened to you and Ade, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, this is shit.
I honestly didn't even, like, I thought it was, a beautiful clip and everything, but people were just like nasty. I was like, I put up 2 other clips, and there's one where he's even, encouraging, people and sort of motivating them to, realize the greatness within, and like, that's beautiful. But no, people love chaos and
drama,
destruction. So they all gravitated to that one little mistake and focused on that. But it was really, really sad to see. It was disappointing to see, especially coming from our own people. But it's like it took a while to get over that one.
But you did, cuz, and you both did, and I think you guys handled it with, like, such grace, whereas others would have taken it at a different approach. So I think you guys handled it the best that you guys could handle it. I think I need to just be quiet.
Why?
Because when you get mad, you're not thinking rationally. You're just mad, and I don't
Oh
feel like
yeah,
it would have made the situation any better because it gives them the opportunity to keep attacking, kind of thing.
yeah,
But I wasn't happy. I
yeah,
wasn't happy for you. I wasn't happy for Ade. I wasn't happy that people have a lot of time on their hands. Where like, what are you doing with.
yeah,
Like, if that's the
hundred
case, that's
percent.
awesome. Are you um explaining to people that? Are you using some sort of platform to just what are you doing besides
Mm,
bringing other people down?
yeah,
And if you're
yeah,
gonna like voice an opinion, that's all good. You can do it in a way where it's not super malicious and super like mean and super nasty. So just there's no need for it. Just be kind. How hard is it to be fucking kind, man?
100%. Yeah, I was just like, I really just wanted to fight everyone,
Yeah.
but it was just, it was like I should have deleted it after, like straight away once I started seeing it happening. But I was because I'd seen some people stitch it already. I was like, if I
Mm.
delete mine, there's still copies of it, elsewhere, and I won't get
Mm.
to explain like what really happened.
Yeah.
And there was a verified account that actually posted a stitch, but like he wasn't malicious about it or anything. But I I just had to go in and quickly explain like this is what happened, because I know that guy's gonna have so many people commenting on
Yeah.
it because he's got a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, it did help reduce a lot of the hate. So people just sort of, I think initially they wanted to go in and judge, but they saw that comment and was like, oh, okay. But with
Mm.
my video, because I think that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get explain myself, but it was rolling.
Yeah. I
Um,
didn't even know
and
until
yeah,
you messaged me because I was like, what the hell?
yeah, it was so bad, and yeah, I was you don't know, like you're not prepared for any of that, and then when it happens,
Yeah. Like, we've gotten
to be
nasty
honest.
comments towards us. And, like,
Mm,
if anything, we laugh because we're like, oh, yeah, okay.
oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
But I think it's
But
because we had asked someone to come onto our podcast and then they got hurt and that wasn't right. We are like, ah, fuck.
yeah, yeah, and I felt so bad, and I felt so guilty, and responsible for his hurt, and it didn't
It
sit
wasn't
well
on
with
you,
me for a
cuz.
while.
Like, it's not your fault. People are nasty.
But when I did delete it, it did because you're not constantly seeing the notifications and that, and that's
Yeah.
what was really toxic about it. Was every minute I'm just looking, and it's just I thought of tried to explain, and then more people are coming in, and it's like they don't even look anymore at
Yeah.
other comments and stuff. They just
Yeah.
want to go in and have their say. So
Mm.
I was like, yeah, no, well, fuck it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
um but it in essence, it was a beautiful clip. It was a beautiful episode. I really enjoyed that episode. There were a lot of learnings from it as well.
Yeah.
um and I really did hope to have Ade back on, but I will completely understand
Me
if he
too.
doesn't
Yeah.
want to anymore. So yeah, but I send a lot of love and light to Ade.
Yeah.
um
We love
yeah.
you.
Uh, um what else has been happening? We had the Queen Elizabeth. She's passed away last week. No, this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, this week. How old is she? 94.
Yeah.
It's 94. Damn. And that's 70 years of reign as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy. Because she was so young when
as
she like
queen.
became queen as well.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one as well. Because there were a lot of people that were sad, and then there were a lot of people like, oh, everything that her and her family's done, and like people were like all angry about it. They're like, I'm not going to mourn someone who's been responsible for all of these like deaths and all of this other stuff. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I honestly don't have a comment on that, because I didn't even know what she does. but
Me too.
like,
Before I was just
but
like,
apparently, like,
someone died.
she doesn't really have that much power over the British government. So I
Mm,
don't know how much influence that she could have had to the government making all those decisions. You know, um, same with colonization. Like that was done before her reign.
yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly don't know what she does. So
Same.
I was like,
It was like, oh,
but
someone's like
70
someone's
years,
yeah, freaking
70-year
hell.
long service.
I don't want to be doing that, man.
um, but I what I think is like what I'm assuming would happen is that like we didn't know peep of like the queen, but I think King Charles will probably see,
Mm,
yeah, a lot stricter reign.
mm.
I'm assuming, but yeah,
Especially if he's got like
we'll
Camilla's
see.
influence. Who knows?
Yeah, well, yeah. And man, fetching what's a Harry's Meghan Markle far
Mm.
out, man. I just every time I go on Facebook, I just see a whole bunch of hate
Yeah, man.
articles on. She's the most hated person in that family.
Yeah. It's so sad.
I don't get it. I don't really know the story, but apparently she's like shit on the royal family for how since the beginning of their
Mm.
marriage. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what's happening with that story.
Yeah.
But I just it's just a constant article like about her.
Mm.
Um, and then the next news was Paris Goebel as well got an
Oh
Emmy.
yeah.
Yeah, it was actually like a really like just seeing it. Like I don't know, I just felt like we won the
Yeah.
Emmy as
Legit. That's how
well.
you feel about when
Um,
you see someone who looks like us win. We feel like we won too.
yeah, but it was oh man, like she really deserved that.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I
Mm.
love Paris.
Yeah.
And just recently we got Miss new Miss Samoa, Heilani Kurupu, just got crowned Miss Samoa 2022-2023. Um, yeah, I think she's part Sri Lankan, part Samoan.
Yeah.
So just like my
I don't know of
nieces.
her. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
But yeah, I just seen that come through recently as well. The new Miss
I
Samoa.
was
She's
watching it a little
gorgeous
bit
though.
because she is. I was only watching it because one of the girls, I'm sure you met her, Kaz. Remember when they do our hair? Tanya. She was Miss Samoa, New South Wales. So I was low
Oh,
key rooting for
no.
her. I was like, come on.
Oh,
But it
yeah,
was
this
still
was
good.
new Miss Samoa Victoria, that one.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, okay. No, I didn't see the pageant. I just seen the announcement. But yeah, uh, props to all those girls that go for it
Mm,
though. Like I would not have the balls or the looks
same.
to run
Same.
for it. So,
I would not
good
know
on
what to do.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. All right. So that's all I had. All the news that I've seen. All the haps that's been happening with us. In the hiatus during
Yeah.
our hiatus. Um. And there was
Hiatus. We'll
another
call it
thing,
that.
and this is uh our main topic, which is the Manti Te'o story
Yeah.
that was released on Netflix recently, the documentary. That was released like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I think it was a while ago, cuz only because I didn't even know. I'm not. Oh, sorry, cuz yeah, it was a few weeks ago. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It just started trending,
Mm,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh, what's this about? And
Mm.
like, especially because it's Islander, and it's like,
That's the
but
only reason why I
then,
watched it. I
yeah,
was like flicking through Netflix, and I'm like, hey, what's this?
yeah. So there's a series on Netflix called Untold. I think each season there's a different story. So this season was the story of Manti Te'o. I think it's called Untold, the girlfriend that didn't exist, or something like that. And yeah, so basically it's about like a promising young American football star from Hawaii who got into a 3 year, I think it was 3 years relationship with Lene Kekua. Um, Only for him and unfortunately the media to find out that he was being catfished and that Lene was actually a man at the time named Renaya. So that whole uh, fiasco
Mm.
derailed his rising career. He did get drafted into was it Chargers, San Diego Chargers. Um, and but like I think just because of all the the hate from the media and everything, it just he couldn't and I don't blame him, could not just play at his best.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts before watching it?
I'm gonna be honest, Kaz. I barely heard about it. I saw like tweets because I'm pretty sure it was really popular during my tweeting phase. I'm not so much on Twitter as I used to be when I was younger. I used to be like I'd be on Twitter all the time, and I saw it, and then I saw a bit of it on Facebook, and I'm gonna be honest. My initial reaction was like, "How would you not have known? Like, are you serious?"
Mm, mm,
That was my initial thought. I was like, 3 years, that's a long time. Like, and me being, I don't know, I was still a teen, a little whoops. So I was still like, that's a long time for you not to know that you're being, catfished.
mm.
But yeah, that was my initial thought. Well, what about you, Kaz?
Yeah, I was the same. I didn't really um when it first came out. I think it was 2011 or something like that. I think at the time I was in my early 20s. And I think I like vaguely heard about it, but it was one of those like,
Yeah.
like okay. But then when the documentary came out and then everybody started talking about it, even at home, like we was talking about it and that, and then I was like, how could this, yeah, exactly like you, how could this guy not know? three
Mm,
years like you didn't know that that person is someone else. uh
yeah.
like to me it was like you didn't meet up or anything, like
Yeah.
to confirm or,
Mm,
but yeah. And then like going into our thoughts after the documentary, like yeah, I was just blown away, and I felt really bad about my
same.
initial thoughts before
Me
watching the
too.
documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did you think? What were you like? So you've watched the documentary. Like what? Like how did you feel after that? And what are your thoughts about the whole Manti story?
It was so funny because that day I chucked a sickie from work. I was like, Leah, not today. And it wasn't feeling well, so I was like, I'm just gonna relax. My kids at school, I'll just turn it on, and like I said, I was on Netflix, had no idea it was even on there. But it had actually come out that day. It was either
Oh.
that day or the day before, one of those. Um, and I was gonna just skip, but I saw the trailer, and it obviously, like as soon as I saw, hey, he looks like an island guy.
Mm,
And then I saw like family members, like the trailer shows different things, but you obviously see people that look like you, and when you see that, you're just like, your
you're
automatic
drawn.
reaction is to, yeah, I need to know what this is about. So I watched it, and I'm gonna be honest, like throughout the whole thing, I just was like, I started off like, really lost and confused, like, and then by the middle, I was like angry,
Yeah.
I was annoyed, I was like, um, and then at the end, I felt weird. I felt like I was still a bit not angry, but I still felt for him.
Mm,
But then I wasn't as mad as I was initially in the middle. So I think it was a mixture of emotions that I was feeling after watching this. Because by the time I finished it, my anger had turned into, well, wait a minute, like I had initially thought, this way. Like that was the same as, who am I to be all angry when my initial reaction, back when I remembered my reaction was, not a positive one. So um, by the end of it, I was like, wow, if he and his family can handle it the way that they handled it, then who am I to sort of hold on to, like, any sort of anger and stuff? That
Yeah.
was what I felt. What about you guys?
Um, when I was watching it, yeah, it opened my eyes to the whole catfishing situation. Um, because to be honest, like that's the first time I've heard that terminology, catfish.
Really?
Um, yeah,
From
yeah.
the show?
And I'm so old.
No, you're not old. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's a good thing. You actually have a life now.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. Like I knew, but back in the like around that time when this incident happened, like man, like MSN, all of that was so big. Like
Yeah,
online relationships were so big. Um, and me as a little in my teens when I was a moipy, I got into online relationships as well.
yeah,
But like I didn't. It wasn't like a serious thing, but I
mm,
also was aware that, there were people that took those, online relationships seriously.
yeah,
So I didn't understand like how he so like I learnt the term catfish, but yeah, it was that was a thing back then anyway.
mm,
That everybody would fake, like there were people that faked their profile and that it's like
yeah,
and then but I like that was around the time when you had a lot of those men who would try and lure
mm,
the younger younger girls who they would chat up on these chat sites and everything, and then try and meet up with them, and then they end up being like fucking pedophiles and stuff like that.
yeah,
So that was like that was a common thing that we heard of back then,
mm,
even in my teens. So when I watched it and it was like, this whole I was like my question was like why is this such a blown up issue all over media, like as if it wasn't a common thing that, didn't happen back then.
mm,
Like a lot of people, did fake their profiles, and but because it happened to like, a rising football star and the media got hold of it, I was like, that's why. Like
yeah.
I'll be honest, I freaking cracked up laughing in the middle.
When you saw who
Because
it was.
you're going through the whole journey, right? And
Yeah.
then you're like, fuck, that Renaya is like very creative.
So
And
creative. Like even making yourself a family member and like, oh my gosh. And then getting your
I know
friend.
the level of effort that
Yeah.
person went through.
Yeah. I was like, what
there was
the
this
hell?
one there was this one part in it that, honest man, I just wanted to gungy like like laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like literally, because that part where he like she, so apparently she gets into a car accident, and then in
Oh
that
no.
car accident, while she's at the hospital, they find out that she's got cancer or she's got leukemia. And then there's this part where she like she's calling Manti, and Manti's on the phone, and Manti says all he can hear is like the breathing.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
and
shit.
she's like she whispers, Manti. Yeah.
Oh man. No, that was pretty. I
That
was
is
sitting
a
there
very
like,
a lot. First thing I pictured was like pictured Darth Vader.
it's so sad. It's sad because it's not meant to be funny, but it, like, you can just picture them like, in their book, all just like it's all dark and they're just
That's The parents probably in the next room.
Yes. Ooh.
Nah, I like yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that part was funny. But more I was more laughing at just like the
The level of
um dramatization
yeah,
of like man, like she created a full like production pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. She's a one
Um
man show, man.
oh man. Yeah. But like honestly, after watching that, I didn't feel any anger towards Renaya, and like oh, for me, it was like, one, yeah, she had the balls to come on and say, reveal her whole production story of, this Lene character and that,
Mm,
which, like I would be too embarrassed to show my face, and actually tell what really happened. And I think that helped with Manti's story.
mm,
So, like, from the beginning, she came out and told the truth, and, faced all the hate and everything. But, like, yeah, what she did was wrong.
mm.
Like, I couldn't even fathom, being that creative to, do what she did.
Yeah.
and, but at the same time, like I just seen this story just showed so many like deeper issues, um
Mm,
and cultural issues that I also want to delve into, because they were, yeah, I find that this story highlighted a lot of it. um and one of the things that I found really troubling, and I see it in our Pasifika community all the time, is that is our identity issues. Like,
mm.
we have, as that cultural and religious programming that we have in our culture, it's like there's that pressure to um, be a certain way, to support your family.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like I seen that with Manti's story, and especially when you hear from the parents as well.
Mm,
And also with Renaya's story, because the whole stigma of being a trans woman, or being a fafa finge, you know what I mean, it wouldn't have been accepted um in Western society, in our culture. I think it's a little bit more accepted in our culture, but because we've adopted, we're um we've adopted the Western mentality, plus the religious Christianity aspect of it. It's like, no, that's bad, you
yeah.
know. So, and also because he had, his whole family, Renee's family, like all the men were all football players. There was that
Mm,
pressure that he should be a football player as well.
yeah.
I think like a lot, there's that uh identity crisis with Renaya, that had, maybe had they, he'd been comfortable to come out as a Fafafinge back then, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened. Yeah, like it goes back to that old saying, like, hurt people hurt people. Um and I think, yeah, yeah.
I think you're right, cuz, but I feel like I was mad. I
Yeah.
was. Only because like I have brothers and I have not even just brothers, but like, if someone did that to my family member, I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
I think I was putting myself way too into this situation, even though it had nothing to do with me. Um, where I thought, this, like, your choices hurt a lot of people kind of thing. And
Yeah.
you're right, hurt people do hurt other people, but I don't think, like, I still believe, like, you still know right from wrong. I'm not saying, you know, but I still feel like, you should still know when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. And I feel like Renaya did know, but I just think she didn't know when to stop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like there was just so many opportunities, I reckon, where she could have stopped. She could have stopped, but I guess it just kept getting worse. Like it snowballed so badly.
Mm, yeah,
Like the car crash, the cancer, and then like all this other stuff, and then like dying, and then coming back to life. I was like, when will it be enough? Like when are you gonna? At what point did you think, oh, that's enough? Like we're
yeah.
loving out. Like
Just stop.
yeah, you're not a
Naya.
Spielberg, okay? I was like, when are you gonna stop? I think that's what the whole time I was watching. I was like, when will it end? And then when she finally ended it, because I think oh, that's when, yeah, it was when she had initially said, like, she died.
Mm.
But it just, yeah, so I was like, oh, yeah, Walmart. But then, like, to come back to life, like, like Lazarus,
Hey, so
like, it was just not good. I was like, well, just when was it going to stop? And I think, yeah, I think at some point it just, I think she just couldn't, like, just take it anymore. Like,
yeah,
she just, yeah. So that was initially how I felt. But I get what you're saying as far as, we do have this identity crisis where us islanders, we don't know who we are,
yeah,
and we're too scared to sort of come out of our comfort zone because of our environment and our surroundings and how we're brought up.
yeah, yeah,
So I understand where you're coming from in that sense, because
yeah. Like it, like I 100% understand where you're coming from as well. Like no way, defend the Renaya's behavior. I was like, man, that's just too much. Like
mm,
the level, like the levels that she went through with this lie, and she even said it herself, like, it was out of control. Like there was a part there where she said, I felt like I was losing control. So that's why she had to come back to life like Jesus did 3 days later or something. You know what I mean?
I was
Like,
like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry,
as,
cuz.
yeah, right? Yeah, like I just, for me, it was like, it was wrong. Yeah, 100% wrong what she did, but there is a deeper issue at play with this, that I find that a lot of us, experience as well. But, this was unfortunately the case for Renaya, where, that identity crisis, wants to live through this like avatar person, and, that's where they feel like they can be their true self. And unfortunately, it hurt people, like what she did, and it was wrong what she did. But I think that, like, also, had we like been a lot more acceptive, that's the word, accepting of, you know like, Fafa fingers,
Yeah.
maybe, you know this person would have just lived that life and not being pressured to do, play footy, or, be a man, um and, the whole shame to, your family name and that. Maybe if he was comfortable enough to embrace his actual identity in the first place, that would not have happened.
Yeah, maybe you're right, cuz I think I understand where you're coming from. But I'm not sure, only because, oh, maybe it is because it was just maybe his small community that didn't accept it. Because I feel like we know that there's heaps of Fafa fingers. Like we know
Mm.
that they exist. We know that they even have like pageants and stuff, um, specifically for some or islanders that are
Yeah,
all like Fafa fingers. So I think at the time when I was watching, I was like, well, hang on, like I think we are a bit accepting. Like there's so many of us out there. But then
yeah,
again, I'm also looking at it in the sense of, maybe it was his small little circle with his family and his friends and their upbringing, because it's different for everyone.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I was too. I'm not gonna lie. I was too team Manti.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I was too much on that side because yeah, I look at it like our people aren't perfect, but we have a lot of fafa fingers in our community.
hmm,
Um, but yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah.
I'm still figuring out what I think.
Even Renaya said it. herself was that,
Mm.
she went back to the island because it's
Yeah.
more accepted there. And I
Mm.
think that's I'm not sure if it's true, like, anybody in the trans community, if I don't know what they go through, if they find that it is more acceptable in the island. And I've been to Samoa, and yeah, there's a whole community of, Fafafingers and that,
Mm.
and they seem to be, accepted. And it's just normal over there. Like, I have a few family members that are, trans,
Yeah.
and they're probably the most lively people in the
Mm.
in the islands. But it seems a lot more accepted in the islands than it is in West. That's why I was saying, like, in we for us adopting that Western mentality, especially when it comes to religion, like,
Yeah.
where it's now, like, it's not as accepted here.
Mm.
And these guys are living in the States, a Western country. So I don't know how much, because when he came out, when Renaya actually, told his parents the truth, they didn't seem to be, um, they didn't disown him for
Mm.
being, a Fafafinyu.
Yeah.
So I think also we create that, and it goes back to not knowing who you are, your identity issues, because it goes, he had that assumption based on what he's seen, that it's not
Mm.
accepted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to him, he didn't want to come out, and, like, because he thought it wouldn't be accepted. But when he did, seemed like his parents were, accepting of it. Um, and then the guy, goes and does a tawalunga, and I've seen a lot of that on TikTok. The
No.
nerve. I think I'm just at that point in my life where I just don't feel like I'm the perfect person. I
Mm.
live my perfect, like, everything is perfect in my life. So I try really not to, like, I try really hard not to judge, like,
Yeah.
people from their mistakes, because I make mistakes as well. And yeah, unfortunately, this person, like, it really hurt somebody. But then, how much do we want this person to suffer, for us to then be like, okay, it's all right. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
he's come out, like, from the beginning, like, yeah, dragged on this whole lie and everything. But it also, wasn't his fault or her fault that, it caught the media's attention and it blew
Mm.
up the way it did.
Yeah.
um like I said, I'm not defending what he did. That was wrong what he did, but yeah, like, the media also played a massive part in
Mm-hmm.
why this was, like, you know um like, a really, what do you call it, how, like, it was the nail in the coffin for Manti, pretty much.
Yeah.
The media. And when it came out in the media, Renee could have just, you know kept quiet, but he actually came out, and from the beginning, and told his story, saying that Manti didn't know, because everybody was thinking that Manti was in on the hoax,
Yeah.
that he knew, or he created the story. But Renee came out, said no, it was all him, her, well, him at the time, and that, he manipulated Manti.
Yeah.
Um, then on the other side, I was looking at, the Manti's, he is a, young kid, young male, and, he gets this really good opportunity, goes over to, was it Indiana, for, University of Notre
Notre
Dame,
Dame.
Notre Dame.
Mm.
So he's like, he's got this really good opportunity that, could be, good money.
Mm.
And he
Let's set
goes
him up.
over, he leaves his home, goes to, another state. He stays there. He's not used to it. He's homesick.
Yeah.
He's age as well where you're still trying to figure things out. Um, and I think that like a lot of our young Pacifica men as well go through that same process where,
Mm-hmm.
especially with footy, is
Yeah.
footy is their gateway to success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that um, the parental pressures as well on our Pacifica men also doesn't help the situation. Um, like I that responsibility that us kids have to care for the whole family also takes away from the importance of figuring out who you are and knowing who you are without the directive of your family telling you who you should be.
Yeah.
um and I don't know, I couldn't help but note, like, feel that that might have been um the draw for this online relationship, because one, he's also religious. No sex before marriage and all that. So to have somebody online where you're not physically in the same room, it's like, okay, cool, perfect. Like, I'm not gonna, sin. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Or
And
be
then,
tempted.
yeah, yeah. And then he's also, because it's a online relationship and they don't see each other, they're not together. He can focus on his footy career, which is something he needs to get done. So like to him, like I think uh, going back to my initial judgment of like he should have known, but for him at the time it would have been a perfect relationship that did not interfere what he needed to do for his career and for his family, and at the same time, like, did it wasn't tempted, like, yeah. So I don't know, I really felt for him because I just thought, like, how innocent innocent he was.
Yeah.
And he's trying really hard to make sure that his career hits off so that he can come back and support his family. He's homesick, and he gets obviously taken advantage of. But I see that with a lot of Pacifica men,
I think
young men.
yeah.
Is that that pressure that you need to go out there and find something to you know what do you call it, do really well in your football career, and then that'll help the family, that
Yeah.
responsibility that they have on their shoulders. But then what happens if they didn't make it? You know what I mean? You have a lot of Pacifica young men who feel like failures if they didn't make it into the NRL or
Yeah.
make it into NFL or whatever sport that they were
Mm.
going into, and they didn't get picked. That amount of pressure and that disappointment, like, is probably, like, I see that as probably like a root cause to some of the issues that come from that.
I think you're right, cuz only because how do I say it? I think I related more to Manti because he's the eldest child.
Mm,
So I think even like I completely agree where it's it's a big issue with our men,
yeah,
that they have to succeed, and there's no other way you can succeed unless you're like an athlete.
yeah,
Um, if you don't get into rugby league or NFL or union, or you're not an All Black, um, you're just like an ordinary person.
yeah,
When there's so many other careers to pursue, there's so many other sort of like Islanders have so many talents and everything, that it's not just sports.
yeah,
And I think everyone just focuses on sports because they're like, you're physically, like, you're built to be an athlete, so you
mm,
need to be an athlete. And when they're not, if you really do think about it, how many Island guys do we all know are athletes? Like, as in, like, they're actually in the NRL, they're actually in the NFL, they're actually in union, they're an All Black. It's not common. So
mm,
I think that sort of mentality isn't really realistic,
yeah,
for our Pacifica men. And I think you are right, where it's sort of like a almost a pandemic where we have this stigma where, like, if you're not an athlete, you're a failure.
mm,
A lot of my concerns with watching it was how much pressure it is for a child.
Mm.
Um, because, like you said, he was just a kid, and I think
Yeah.
that's what annoyed me most was that they were both just kids. But
Yeah.
he specifically obviously had so much on his shoulders, so much like he was being dependent on, he was being relied on, like go and do this so that you can take care of the family. And to me, that is not something you put on a child.
Yeah.
Like you don't have kids so that they can take care of you. Obviously, it'll be nice. Like I'm hoping one day when I die, well, not die, but when I'm really old, my daughter, can take care of me in the sense of whether it's in a home or whether it's at least she's still there. But I
Yeah.
don't want to be. I don't ever want to be the type of parent where I tell my kid like you need to support me because it's the other way around. We had you
Mm.
we had you, so it's our job to take care of you even if
Yeah.
you're old and like you're 55. We as your parents still take care of you, so I completely agree. I don't like that it's still something in our culture where parents have kids and then they put it on the kids,
Yeah.
because I don't agree with it. I feel like it messes with a kid mentally, it messes with them emotionally. When I was watching it, you can obviously see how much he does love his family, how much he
Mm.
did want to take care of his family. Um, Even when everything happened, when it came out, I wasn't a huge fan of. I'm not saying it's the parents' fault. I'm saying I wasn't a huge fan of the reaction because it was like, you should have known.
Mm.
You should have known that you were talking to someone who wasn't who they said that they were.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also like, but you also heard Renaya on the phone, like you heard family
Mm.
members, and like how was your child meant to know if you as the adult didn't even know? Um, Again, I'm not trying to point any blame or anything. I'm just saying like it's that's part of the problem in our culture is that we're really quick to put it on our kids like you need to do this, you need to do that, and then when something goes wrong, you should have known this. But how
Yes. Yeah.
they're not prepared. You've put them into you've thrown them out into the world. How are they
Mm-hmm.
supposed to know without the proper tools, the proper guidance, for things outside of athlete, outside of
Yeah.
sports, outside of anything, outside of what they're supposed to pursue for the family? How are they supposed to be prepared?
I
How
know.
are they
Yeah.
supposed to know that they're talking to someone who's not real? How are they meant to deal with these sorts of emotions, being homesick, being,
Mm.
they're a young, a young man? How are they supposed to deal with these feelings that they're feeling for another woman? We don't talk about those issues because we're too much, pushing them to pursue things that, again, in my opinion, is not 100% realistic.
Mm.
Like, a kid's feelings is realistic. A kid's, being bullied, a kid dealing with someone who they're not supposed to be talking to, a kid, being in an environment where they don't know anything, then they don't
Mm.
recognize anyone, they're not used to it, they're confused, they're lost. So I think that was another reason why I was super team Manti because, again, I have younger brothers, I have younger cousins, I have, and no one talks about how it's a mental thing for our men. No
Yeah.
one talks about how they go through stuff. There's been so
Yeah.
many athletes who actually have committed suicide or done something because there's just too much pressure on the kid
Mm-hmm.
to support a family. And it's not even a small family, guys. We are a family of big people. We have so many family members. There's so many kids in our family. So we think, okay, I have to support mum and dad. I have to
Yeah.
support my sisters. I have to support my brothers. I have to support my grandparents. I have to support my uncles. I have to bring this person
Mm-hmm.
over. How are we meant to focus on that and then get shat on because we weren't mentally prepared, emotionally prepared for the outside world, where we're actually the real world where stuff actually
Mm-hmm.
happens? So
Yeah.
I think that's where I was
Hundred
at.
percent. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like now you killed that cousin. I was ready to jump in with the amen, sister. But yeah, no, 100%. Everything that you said, like, and I think that goes back to identity issues as well
Yeah,
for the
100%.
parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that cycle, like what I find because we don't know who we are, then there's that cycle of living through our kids
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you got to make it into the, NRL or NFL or whatever. But you didn't. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
well, like, what happened to you?
Mm.
You know what I mean? I understand, like, th- as parents, Pacifica parents, they have the best
100%.
intentions,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
like I don't think they realize how much they project onto their kids because
Mm.
some of them might feel that they failed in their time, so
Yeah.
they're going to make it up for their kids, which means I'm going to pressure you or push you to be this person.
Yeah.
And like, it's too much. It's too
Yeah.
much, because then the impact of that is, if they don't make it, then they're going to be like depressed,
Mm.
and then they're going to start this cycle where they're going to push that onto their kids to make sure that they're successful.
Mm.
And it's like, if you're not successful in your career as an athlete, then what's the alternative? Warehouse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, labor work. Or
Mm.
is not that they don't have that discussion where it's like, find who you are, what do you want to do, like, do you even want to play footy, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what are your talents? There's not much emphasis on, that there's other things around, and, like, find your talent, find what you're good at, and then go for that. Go for what you believe, in your heart, that you want to do, that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, uh oh shit, I just lost it. Oh,
Oh.
that, for some reason, I don't know why, but we keep thinking, you know, that we're stupid. Like, I never sort of, like, I felt that as well. Just that stereotype, falling into that stereotype that Pacific Islanders are not uh intelligent.
Mm.
Um, and then that, that cultural mentality of the white man knows best. You know what I mean? Like, it's just listen to what they say, just listen to what the Palangi says, and just, go with that, because they
Yeah.
know, what's best. But you look at the Manti situation, like, he did that. You know what I mean? He listened to his crisis management team, and they said, "Oh, they'll take care of it." But had he, like, gone with his gut feeling and addressed it straight away,
Mm.
as soon as it hit media, he could have told his story then.
Mm.
But the white man said, "No, it's okay. I'll take care of it." But then it ended up getting really ugly. So I think like, that also plays a huge part in, like, the decisions that we make as well. We always what do you call it? Um, it's that mentality that we think that we're not smart enough, and that we can't think for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have a lot of influence by your parents, by white people, because
Yeah.
we're always told by our own people, our own parents, to listen to Balangis, listen to the white man, because they know what it's like to be successful. We don't know what it's
Mm.
like to be successful, but so that's why you follow what they say.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, because we don't have that faith in ourselves. Um, eh, yeah.
Yeah. Now I get what you're saying because, like you said, parents have the best intentions. Like us as parents, the job is probably the hardest
Oh, fuck.
job in the entire universe. So I'm not trying to crap on anyone's parenting, but I also think like there needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
Like of course, like I love that the support, how supportive the parents were and how they pushed, because obviously us as parents we need to push our kids because sometimes they get
Mm.
complacent and sometimes they don't want to move anywhere, and I get that. But I also feel like if you're going to push them for this, you also need to set them up in other areas of life,
Mm-hmm.
because I think the focus was too much on his craft, which was obviously his, sports and everything like that, that there was no real, I don't know if there was, who am I to assume, but I don't know if there was any sort of preparation for, for him,
Mm.
um, as far as him going to another, like a foreign land even.
Yeah.
Like you're going to a completely new place. Um, your parents aren't there. Obviously, your kids when they're old enough, you want to let them go out in the world and do that. Um, but I also think, like I said, there needs to be a balance. Like you can't just be, focus on this, but you're not mentally prepared or emotionally prepared or
Mm,
just psychologically aware of different things around you.
yeah,
Because I think had he been set up in that way, he would have been a lot more aware.
yeah,
He would have been a lot more just prepared. He would have been like, oh, this person that I'm talking to doesn't. I think he could even feel that there was something wrong.
yeah,
But because there was a lack in what I think is guidance and him just not being more self aware, that's what led him to just keeping it for 3 years.
mm,
We're kids. I remember being at that age where we think we're in love. We think, these
mm,
online relationships are super significant in our lives because it's an escape from what I felt like was my real life,
yeah,
where you constantly have to work, you constantly have to take care of people, you constantly have to make money, you constantly have to do this. So it was like, and I'm assuming in his way, an escape from that sort of his real world.
yeah.
But I get what you're saying because I think what's it called? What was it? I just lost it. um, yeah, but you are right where we don't have enough confidence and faith in ourselves to know that we are smart enough to make decisions. We are smart, but we need to do that. We need to teach our
Mm-hmm.
kids that. We need to be like, you are smart. You're smarter than someone who's white, yellow, pink, brown, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to do that. We can't just push them all these pressures onto them, and then be like, but you have to do it this way because it's the
Yeah,
only way.
yeah. And look, I appreciate, that's, how they grew up. That's what they learned as well. It's like I said, it's a cycle, of learnings. But I think that, that needs to change, um, you know, because they, it's, it doesn't have, you don't have to be academically smart, but the more experiences that you have, the more you learn and the more you become wiser.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't really want to go with. I've seen a lot of TikToks and that where everybody's just judging the situation, judging Manti, judging Manaya, and all that. But I find that there's just like this story really highlighted like deeper issues within our community. And yeah, the pressures on our Pasifika, young men as well
Mm.
to look after the family. I have to say though, like, this kid, like in his 20, the power of, forgiveness.
Yeah.
I
100%.
Yeah, like I admire. This is like a young man, and going through what is just something that so terrible that it's ruined your career, it's ruined your name and everything, and still be able to forgive. Like
Yeah.
I admire that so much.
Absolutely.
um and like, I find also sometimes, when we don't um know ourselves, and we follow what everyone's telling us to be, we start blaming, and then we start resenting, um and like our parents, or ourselves. And um I just find that we need to start, uh start breaking that cycle of, I think we got to teach more on the emotional side, how to be able to handle our emotions, rather than go out there, and be successful. I don't know how you're going to do it, but that's what you need to do.
Mm.
Um, yeah, get out of that. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know, then let them figure it out. They will figure
Yeah.
it out if they had, the support. And um, but yeah, um, the other thing, what made me angry in this documentary though, is Dr. Phil.
That Ulupo guy.
So I know, but
Yeah.
Like I don't understand because he goes uh he comes on this documentary and he talks about his interview that he did with Renaya back when it happened. And then like just the way he was talking about Renaya, I'm like I know I sound like the biggest like defender of Renaya, but I'm I'm just saying like the way he was saying yeah, it was weird and that. So aren't you supposed to be a therapist like,
Yeah.
neutral? But
Yeah.
you can see in the original interview as well that he had on his show where he didn't believe that the voice was Renaya's voice. Like,
Yeah.
why would this guy lie about? Renaya was a man at the time, but why would he lie about pretending to use a female voice? Like,
Mm.
that's him. Like that's.
Like
I'd
out
be
of
too
all of the
embarrassed.
lies he had, he's gonna lie
Yeah,
about the voice he put
yeah,
on.
his voice. Like, what
Yeah.
does it matter anyway if it was like his voice or not? Like this guy got like all these experts that used to work with the FBI. These voice experts. It's like, why solid?
What a waste of
It's like,
cooking.
he was like, but I think it was he. I think he was trying to say that Manti did because he was I think he thought that there were accomplices and Renaya was working with
Mm.
to create the story, and I think back then people just couldn't fathom that Manti was the victim. He thought that he created this to, I don't know, be famous
Yeah.
with
Like
the
his
story that.
girlfriend and grandmother passing away at the same time would
Yeah,
boost his
yeah.
like, status or whatever it was that they thought.
Hmm.
But yeah, Dr. Phil was
But
okay on that show.
Dr. Phil, man, like honestly, like someone take this guy's license. Like this guy uses like he exploits people's like stories and that, and for his show and for ratings
Mm.
and
Yeah.
what happened to like confidential but then I guess those people like want to be on the show as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, like he rubbed me the wrong way, this guy. Why did I not see your true colors before, Dr. Phil? Okay. Why are you even involved in this? Did you have like other
patients to go and take care of,
I
basically?
know. I
Nah, I
reckon.
feel you, cuz I could sense that too. I was really confused because you could obviously see there was he was biased. As he just didn't.
Mm.
He already had an opinion. So he
Mm-hmm.
didn't really handle it with a level of professionalism that a psychiatrist is meant to handle it. So I saw that as
Mm-hmm.
well in the documentary. I was like, see, now you got people angry at you, not Renaya.
I know, wait. I know. I think that's what it was for me. It's like, fuck you, Dr. Phil.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know you were that mad at Squaddle.
Skamalwa. This is a freaking monster.
Oh no, I'm cracking up because everyone's like putting up posts and TikToks and stuff of Renaya. You're probably sitting there creating like Dr. Phil video. Like, if you
How
Dr.
are
Phil.
you helping Dr. Phil?
Oh, wait, oi, Dr. Phil. Oh, wait, oi.
I know. Why are you gonna try and get FBI, CIA to just investigate on this person's? What did he say? There's a one in a million chance that voice is Renaya's voice.
Just like,
Now you
okay.
just showed he's special. He's unique.
He's got such talent.
Oh gosh. But Renaya could, turn around and what do you call it? Sue Dr. Phil for like,
Props.
harassment, like how the like, judging that, it's trans. Like trans people can,
Yeah.
use that female voice, trans women. And this guy just harassed him to prove that or
Like, go in
her
that
prove
small
that,
room and...
yeah. that this voice is not your voice. Like, I'm sure it came out of my voice box. Like,
I'm sure I was not talking to Manti. Jeez. But has
back
he
then we
not
didn't
seen
even
like?
have.
Oh, sorry, cuz.
No, you go.
No, no. Has he not seen like all the voice characters that play like Bart Simpson and all those
Exactly.
other did you get the FBI? That's
You
what I'm
got
saying.
ripped off, man. You got ripped off by the FBI. Whatever voice experts you grabbed.
It was a very quiet day for the FBI that day.
Hey,
Oh
where you
shit.
got your statistics from? Okay, you Dr. Phil.
Colourful.
Funny. But yeah, that was probably the only part that I was really angry at. I was angry at the whole media aspect of it as
Oh,
well. That
100%. I was
man,
those two who were they? The magazine dudes? The
yeah,
article
Deadspin.
guys. Yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah,
And I was just
yeah.
like, what do you mean you didn't think this would like get to where it
Mm-hmm.
got to? I'm like, are you dumb? Like you knew it
Yeah.
was going to expose, and they didn't even do it. And like, I was like, if you guys are professionals as far as finding the truth, why wouldn't you go to Manti first? Like they said that they tried to call, but I'm like, yeah, wouldn't you fly over, talk to them? Like, wouldn't you do that before? Like, you're trying to say you're trying to, expose the truth. That was
Mm-hmm.
half the truth. So, like, do
Yeah.
your job, do it properly, and get both sides. Because I think had they done that, it wouldn't have put him in such a bad position. But they wanted that. That's what
Yeah.
the media wants. They want people to look bad. They want celebrities, especially male athletes, to look like douchebags and to look like,
Mm-hmm.
this is the only way that they can get famous is to make up lies when they had no idea that it was all Renaya, it was all her doing, it was her imaginative creativity. So I was really annoyed because they were trying to act like all we did was tell the truth. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I was more
No.
mad at
They
them
just got the
than Dr. Phil.
story, and they got the story, and they said it themselves. They wanted to get it out there before CNN did. It's like,
Yeah,
CNN would not have had the story because you got tipped off by some anonymous person.
yeah. I wonder who
They're
that
like,
anonymous person was
oh,
though.
no way.
I still
I
want to know who
really
this
want to know
Chris
as well.
character was. I
Like,
reckon it
how
was
would they
Renaya.
know? It has to be someone
Mm,
close to them. It's like, how would they know what's
mm,
happening behind,
yeah. I wonder how much Chris got.
who's Chris?
It was Chris. Some person named Chris had tipped them off about, hey, this what's her name? Lene doesn't exist. Like, do your job.
Oh,
Mm.
damn.
I was
Maybe
like,
it's I reckon it's somebody that went to that uni. That the
mm.
original Lene, I forgot her name.
Yeah. Oh
Went
yeah.
to. So I'm assuming that it's someone that knew the original girl, and like, because they posted up all these photos of Lene, and I don't know if did
Mm.
they actually, when they were talking about how she passed away and all that. Yeah, they did. They put up that photo of her.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so someone
Yeah.
must have seen that and be like, that's not Lene. That's actually so and so. I
Mm.
forgot her name.
Yeah.
So
Same. I did feel bad for her as well.
yeah, but that like anyway. But fast forward to now, um, Manti is doing really well. Like,
Yeah.
he's married. He's got a beautiful wife,
Yeah.
and a beautiful daughter, I think. Yeah, and he apparently his career just I think he's a free agent at the moment. Yeah, he didn't really do well after this whole incident. He said himself he couldn't focus. There was that, yeah, he's forgiven
Yeah.
Renaya, but has it, and that question was raised, has he forgiven himself?
Mm.
So I think they didn't say whether he did or not. I think that was a process that he went
He's
through
still going
after
through.
till
Yeah.
yeah till now, and I think that's the hardest thing. Like, that's what I learned
Mm.
as well. Like, yeah, it's very hard to forgive someone that's hurt you, but it's harder to forgive yourself.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just like I felt for this story. I was like a little emotional watching it. Is it just
me
like
too.
poor guy? Like I poor guy. I have such a young kid, and like just things got blown up, and by the U.S. media as well. But yeah, and
It was good it came out though. I think that was a positive as well that it came out in the sense of like
yeah,
his story on Netflix. I was really glad it did come out because it provided a lot more insight as to what happened.
yeah,
Um, but also like that there is like we exist, islanders do exist, things happen, and there is like you said deeper issues. There's a
mm,
root. There's a deeper problem that we have, as far as our our identity and everything. So I think that was a positive of it coming out.
yeah, yeah. Um, but I'm glad he's like happy. He's looks happy
Yeah,
now. He recently put up a post as well, thanking everybody for support, like all the support that he's been getting after the Netflix documentary. It's so sad that it took what I think 10 years for him to be able to tell his story, and that people are now supportive.
yeah,
But yeah, like to be honest, I really did like because we don't live in the States, so we don't really not familiar with NFL or American football and stuff like that. So I really didn't know who Manti was, and I didn't
mm.
even know if is it Manti or Monty? Because
I
originally
think
when
it's
I saw the
Manti.
name, yeah,
I thought Manti
originally when I
too.
saw the name, sorry.
No, I thought Manti too, but then I heard the parents say his name, and I was like, oh, it's Manti. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Like originally when I saw the name, I was like, "Oh, Monty," but then yeah, when hearing them say Manti, and I was like, "Are they like?" Because I wasn't sure. You know how like commentators for NRL, they
Yeah,
say they call players by what they assume it's pronounced, and then we just
yeah,
like, "Ugh, yeah, just go with it.
yeah,
Manti it is. But it was a heartbreaking story, and like yeah, for anyone that came out of that and still think that Manti was guilty, like you got problems.
yeah.
You
You're
got
just
problems.
you're just sad.
But yeah, uh, and it's really sad. But I think it was also necessary to highlight some of the deeper issues as well, because
Yeah,
I like yeah, it's blown up, it's all over the media and that, and it might seem like it doesn't happen to you, but like in in different ways, those aspects are it's happening now with all of us. We're going
mm.
through that,
Yeah,
and if we don't find out, like I think it's so important to know who you are. um go through like anyone who's in their 20s. I think like I wish I'd done this as well, like just try and find out more about yourself,
yeah,
so that you don't project that onto your kids, the lack of um yeah identity that you have.
mm.
uh, and
Absolutely.
also do some investigation before you get onto before you commit 3 years in an online
Yeah.
relationship.
Us to FaceTime straight away. FaceTime straight away.
Oh, but even that, like, how sad, eh? Like,
It
just
was like
the level of
creativity.
imagination. Even got the original girl to send a photo
Yeah.
after she's come back as Yesul, and like she gone back to can you please take a photo and write down the date and something.
Yeah.
So like, how, man?
Crazy.
Like, how
Crazy.
do you not have a sore head after?
Yeah. Legit.
That's just too much creativity.
I agree.
Well, I'll go fight, yeah? Don't do it again.
So yeah.
Naya, no more. Keep doing your talalungas, but no more. um, Yeah, I think that like there's a lot more that we probably could delve into. And like I said, like I didn't want to go in just judging this whole story of Manti and Renee.
Mm.
But yeah, more to just highlight what the deeper issues are, and that we all face those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time for us as parents as well to change our ways, change how we raise our kids so that we
Yeah.
break that generational trauma, start healing, so we're not also projecting that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, I think in our own way, once we're comfortable with who we are, what we want, and that, success will come naturally. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't come, then at least we're happy.
Yeah.
At least we're confident in who we are and what we do, and that we're not resenting, we're not blaming, we're not sort of depressed and killing ourselves because we think we're failures, we think we're dumb. No, and we don't always have to rely on white people because as we can see in this story, um you're expendable. You're
Mm.
expendable to these big corporate people. So just go with your gut, and you are smart enough.
That's good, cuz.
Yeah.
That's good.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I'm thinking if people haven't seen it, go on Netflix. It's really good. It's probably the only Untold episode I've watched. There's more. I was going to give them a go, but I think obviously because we're Pasifika people, we're drawn to people who look like us. So that one so far has been my favorite. Um, but yeah, I think you've pretty much wrapped it up because I have nothing really left to say other than I hope they're both well. I hope everyone who was involved is all right and they look all right
Mm.
and everything like that. But yeah, we need to do different. We need to be different. We need to not even prove it to the Balangis, just prove to ourselves that we are capable of so much
Mm-hmm.
more, so much more.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Well, I think it was good. I think it was not good. Poor guy. But like, yeah, I think for the rest of us, take it easy on your TikTok, your
Settle
TikTok
down, man.
videos. Yeah, I know.
Like I know you want the
Well,
views and the likes, nah.
um, yeah. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok as well. We
YouTube.
actually hit over 1,300 followers on there. So
Thank you
thank you
guys.
for following us. Thank you for all the support, and yeah, we really enjoy producing this kind of content for our Pacifica people. Um, happy to have open conversations as well. Like if you don't have to agree with what we say. That's the whole point of it, is that we have these conversations.
Yeah.
And yeah, focus on yourself and be nice, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.